When this Miami team fell behind 21-3, Romberg said he and Dorsey grew up quickly in that ball game. Now Todd Sievers will kick it deep to Corey Larkins, and this Tennessee team second in the country in kickoff returns. Sievers, he can boom it, and he does. 56 kickoffs now this season for Todd Sievers, and that is the 26th touchback. Here's Casey Clausen. Missed the Georgia game with a bruised shoulder. He's also playing with a bad right foot.
Yeah, he had a funny hit last week in the South Carolina game. His foot was stuck in the ground and he got bent back, and it's hurt in a couple different places, on top of the foot and the Achilles, and also up in the high ankle area. So we'll have to keep an eye on that, his right foot, in the game today.
Backs in the eye on first down and 10 from the 20. Cedric Houston is the deep back, gets the handoff and cuts over left guard for 2 and possibly 3. Jamal Green with the tackle. And let's take a look at the Alamo starting lineups. Herrera starts for Michael Munoz, who is out with an infection. Young, Wells, Smith, and Offenhusel, the tri-captain. Cedric Houston off a 100-yard game at South Carolina, and Fleming, the wideouts, Leonard Scott, Tony Brown, the tight end Jason Witten, Kelly Washington, the sophomore star, again not able to play today because of the lingering effects of a concussion. Here's Houston. He's got to beat one man, and he's got an angle. Houston at the 20, they're closing in, but he's down at the 4-yard line.
Safety right here. He's going to sneak up. This is unusual for Miami. It's Maurice Sykes. They bring him up to have an extra defender in the run. He's unblocked, but he misses the tackle. There's nobody there to block him, but he doesn't wrap up Cedric Houston, and Houston shows the speed. Kelly Jennings and Sean Taylor chasing him down, but a missed tackle by Maurice Sykes set up the big play.
Season-long gain, career long as well at 74 yards. First and goal from the 4. Here's Jabari Davis, who is playing with an injured sternum that happened last week. He had a 62-yard run in last week's game, and now Houston opens with a 74-yarder.
Talked about how important it would be to start well early in the game for Tennessee. One more footnote to that. When they get in the red zone, they must score touchdowns. They cannot beat this team by kicking field goals. They've done better in the red zone the last 3 or 4 games, but in a situation like this, they've got the momentum. They've got to find a way to stick this football in the end zone.
Philip Fulmer's bunch going with a double tight end set, and Leonard Scott is the wide receiver. Again, Kelly Washington unable to go.
Keep your eye on Jason Witten, the tight end.
They go in the corner for Scott. He went one way, the pass went the other. Antrell Roll was defending. Number 6.
This is where they miss Kelly Washington, probably more than anything. I mean, he was a big receiver at 6'4". They like to throw this fade against bump and run, and Leonard Scott just doesn't get any separation from Roll. A little grab of the jersey, but really an uncatchable pass. But with Kelly Washington, they had a big guy who could go up and power himself to the football. They don't have that now on the outside.
Montrell Jones and Jason Witten split off to the left. Derek Tinsley is the slot receiver inside.
Witten is the go-to guy in this Tennessee offense.
3rd and goal. They fire deep. It's in the end zone and just about intercepted by Antrell Roll.
See, that is a win for the Miami defense. They give up the big run, but they force a field goal. Good coverage. This is the leading pass defense in the country with Miami. Man-to-man coverage. He comes underneath. Roll came underneath the receiver and almost got the interception. Pretty well thrown ball, but Roll was able to get a good jump on it.
Alex Walls is on for the field goal attempt. He had one blocked last week. He's been bothered by a pulled quad muscle. Here's the snap. It's good. The kick is up, and it's good. So Walls, the senior from Bristol, Virginia, tacks on 3 at the end of a 74-yard Cedric Houston run that opened the Tennessee offensive thrust. Neyland Stadium by the banks of the Tennessee River on a late Saturday afternoon in November. More than 105 or 6,000 gathered here. Homecoming, and happy with the way things went to open the game. A 74-yard Cedric Houston run sets up a 21-yard Alex Walls field goal. There's Jared Payton, number 34, one of the deep men. Jason Geathers is also back. There's Geathers wearing number 3, and Philip Newman will kick off, number 30 for the Volunteers. Heads left and will be taken by Geathers at the 3-yard line. What a block by Payton, and what a run by Geathers. A little nifty move, and Miami is across the 50 and out of bounds at the 45-yard line.
Not a bad block by your third-team tailback, Jared Payton. Watch him right here. Watch him get into this action as the lead blocker. Pow! My goodness, what a block on Chris Heath. And that was what Geathers needed to get Miami in great situation. First block, a knockout punch, and Geathers shows the speed, and Miami in business across the 50.
That is the longest kickoff return for Geathers this season and Miami. On first down, here's Dorsey back. Comes left, and it's into space, incomplete. And let's talk a little bit about the senior quarterback, Ken Dorsey.
Well, the most amazing thing about Ken Dorsey is that right there. 34-1 as a starter. I mean, he's a great competitor. Yes, he has an excellent cast around him. No, he's not the most gifted quarterback in America, but he is a fighter, a competitor, and he plays big in big ball games.
Willis McGahee is the lone setback on 2nd and 10. The handoff to McGahee, gets a block, comes left. He's got terrific speed and gets on the edge inside the 35. The tackle made by Jabril Wilson, number 8, but a gain of 12 for the sophomore Willis McGahee. And we continue with our lineups. Here's the Miami offensive line. The 2 fifth-year seniors, Haji Razuli and Romberg, and Joseph Myers and Vernon Carey. And the remainder of the offense, McGahee, Quadrine Hill in the backfield, Kevin Beard, Andre Johnson, marvelous wide receiver, and an equally good tight end, Kellen Winslow Jr.
And another good tight end, freshman Eric Winston, now in at the fullback position. He is a big, strong blocker, leading the way now for McGahee.
Here's the handoff to McGahee. Good contact defensively. And he's stopped after a gain of maybe a yard. Abreu Franklin made the tackle. Here's the Tennessee defense. Omari Hand, Rashad Moore, Franklin, and Demetrin Veal, who missed last week's game with a calf injury. Moore, Peace, and Keon Whiteside, the backers. And the secondary, Willie Miles, Rashad Baker, Jabril Wilson, and Julian Battle at the corner.
One of the big keys is whenever Tennessee gets Miami in pass situations, can they put pressure on Ken Dorsey?
Here's 2nd down. Dorsey right side, man wide open, and he misfires to Quadrine Hill by 2 feet. Well, this is a Hurricane offense that scores a lot, and they do so quickly, Todd.
Yeah, they've got so many weapons at so many positions. They've got big-time wide receivers, a big-time tight end in Winslow, backs that catch the football out of the backfield and can run. Doesn't take them much to light up the scoreboard. And they come into this football game averaging over 40 points a game.
Dorsey missed badly on that last pass. 3rd and 10.
I think Tennessee will come after Ken Dorsey. They can't sit back and wait.
He steps up, goes short, bobbled and caught by Andre Johnson, and he is inside the 10. 1st and goal, Miami.
Busted coverage. I mean, Andre Johnson is the most dangerous weapon on the Miami football team. You don't let him run free across the middle of the field. It's man-to-man coverage, and Jabari Greer just lets him go. And I don't know who he turned him over to, but there was nobody there to pick him up. And Andre Johnson, that's too easy for Ken Dorsey.
Player is down. Willie Miles, number 3, the senior from Fort Worth, Texas. And the medical staff tending to him gives us a moment to spend with Tim Brando in New York.
Vern, they may be asking how the West was won at the end of the year, and it could be this way for LSU. Last play of the game, Marcus Randall heaves it 75 yards. Nick Saban said they call this the blend play. Tipped twice by Kentucky players. Henderson with his third touchdown catch of the day. LSU amazingly wins it 33-30. How about that?
Oh, my goodness.
Guy Morris broke his hand hitting the locker last week in the halftime of the Mississippi State game. I think the Lockers better look out again this week after the game. My.
Willie Miles getting continued medical attention now.
Well, here's the end of the play. Willie Miles kind of leads in there with his head and shoulders. And the point here is that Andre Johnson is a big receiver. 6'3", 220 pounds. And he laid it into Willie Miles.
Time has been called. We'll be right back. 11 remaining first quarter, and Willie Miles, the injured cornerback, is still down on the near sideline. Another look at how the injury occurred.
Yeah, it just went right into the right shoulder pad of Andre Johnson. And again, that's a big physical receiver who had a full head of steam heading to the sidelines. And Willie Miles, the senior, has really played well in this Tennessee secondary and would be a huge loss for their pass defense.
Well, injuries very much a part of the Volunteer season. Simon and Burnett, two linebackers, out for the year. They lost Constantine Richmond before the season began. Kelly Washington, and one reason they're being so cautious with Willie Miles here is because of the head injury sustained by Kelly Washington back on October 12th in a game against Georgia late in the game, and he's been unable to play since that point. Lingering problems for Kelly Washington, who is such a part of the offense of this team. This is the injury that was sustained by Kelly Washington. He caught a pass against Georgia, and Todd got loose, and then when he was tackled, just his head reverberated on the tackle off the surface, and the concussion has lingered, and so Kelly Washington has not been able to play for this team. Now Willie Miles will receive assistance as he heads toward the Tennessee locker room.
Really, the strength of this Tennessee defense this season has been the secondary. That has been the outstanding group, and now with one of the comrades down in Willie Miles, expect to see Jabari Greer having to step up as a starter now at the cornerback position.
And it occurred as Willie Miles came over to help with the tackle, he and Rashad Baker, and there's the contact, knocking the large receiver out of bounds. So as Willie Miles heads into the locker room, play is resumed. This will be first and goal. McGahee, Quadrine Hill in the eye, play action. Dorsey quickly dropped, and a flag is thrown in the end zone on the checkerboard.
And they may call offensive pass interference. There was a good push by Andre Johnson on Julian Battle, and that's the way they're going. And this is going to be a heck of a battle all day. Two big physical guys, Andre Johnson and Julian Battle, and you see the push by Andre Johnson to get separation. And this is, if you're a cornerback like Julian Battle, this is the kind of matchup and game you live for. Andre Johnson, arguably the best receiver in America, and you're out there on an island with them on several occasions today. And that battle was won by Julian Battle.
Now Julian Battle wearing number 14 in his second season, having come here from Los Angeles Valley Community College, but he originally signed with Miami out of West Palm Beach, Florida. Didn't qualify academically. He spent 2 years in junior college. There's a lot more to that story. Here's Dorsey under pressure, tipped. Abreu Franklin, number 99, got a mitt up and knocked it down. Good pressure.
Demetrin Veal, who missed last week the game against South Carolina with a calf injury, is able to get pressure. Here he is right here. Watch Demetrin Veal come inside. Nice move, and gets pressure. And when you can make Ken Dorsey move his feet, he is not very accurate. They really missed Demetrin Veal last week. He leads the team with 3 sacks, and he gives them a little bit of a dynamic edge to their defense in terms of rushing the passer.
Second and goal from the 21. Draw play. And it's McGahee picks up enough to get inside the 20 at the 19. But that's going to leave Miami looking at a 3rd and goal from the 19, and we join Jill Arrington.
Well, Vern, cornerback Willie Miles, you saw the hit. They think it's a concussion. They've taken him into the locker room. We'll keep an eye on it.
Okay, thank you, Jill.
He looked awful groggy when he got to his feet, and that was a direct hit on the right shoulder of Andre Johnson. Big 3rd down now for the Tennessee defense. They've stopped him pretty good here on 2 consecutive plays, and now they need to do what Miami did and hold them to a field goal attempt. Keep an eye on Kellen Winslow, the tight end, number 81.
Stunts by the defense. Dorsey with time, deep, high, caught, and then dropped. It was in the hands of Kevin Beard, and then it was on the checkerboard. 4th and goal.
Nice throw by Ken Dorsey. They had single coverage. Beard working on battle this time, and it's the post route. Here it is, single coverage, running the post, and Ken Dorsey puts the football in good position. He has protection, he gets his feet set, and he delivers the football, but Beard not able to hold on.
Todd Severs to tie this up from 37 yards. Nice little draw on that. So Severs is good from 37. And the kickoff return sets up the field goal. But you might even count that a Tennessee win. Tennessee gets a field goal after failing on 1st and goal from the 4. Miami comes back and ties it up with the field goal after failing with 1st and goal as well. Or being well defended, I guess we should say. And Todd Severs will kick it off now for the Hurricanes. Corey Larkins is the deep man for Tennessee. And Severs has this one midway through the end zone, and Larkins will take a knee. Now let's check this Miami defense. Things happened so rapidly earlier we didn't have time to check in. There are the starters: McDougal, Joseph Walters, and Green. You will see 3 others playing today. DJ Williams, Jonathan Vilma, and Howard Clark are the linebackers. And in the secondary, Roll, Taylor, Sykes, and Kelly Jennings. And you had a note on Vincent Wilfork and the fact that he is not here, the defensive tackle.
Yeah, not here. His mother had some sickness problems, and he is with her, and but we wish her well, obviously, but not able to join his team today.
Draw play, 1st down, nothing there for Houston. I'll tell you who was there was Jerome McDougal, number 95. And let's go back to New York and spend a moment with Tim Brando.
All right, Vern, a couple of teams that have a direct impact on Miami. Oklahoma's Quentin Griffin, a 6-yard touchdown reception from Nate Hibble. Also, in the battle between the Quack Attack and Washington State, it's now 7-all in the 1st.
All right, Tim, 3-3 here. 2nd down, 11 for Tennessee. Fleming and Houston are the backs. Hand off Houston. He's got more room into the secondary. Out to the 27-yard line. Well, how do you see the needs that Tennessee must meet to win this?
Well, on offense, I think they've got to be aggressive and physical on the field and on the sidelines in their play calling as well. They've got to take some chances. Defensively, take away the run. Even though Kevin Dorsey is a front runner for the Heisman, make him beat you by throwing the football. And then in the kicking game, they've got to win the kicking game. They've got to make a play or do something in field position to have an edge in the kicking game.
Tennessee looks at a 3rd and 3 now, and Derek Tinsley is the tailback. He will go in motion wide to the left. Tossing back across the middle for his tight end, almost intercepted by DJ Williams.
And what a nice play by Scott Wells, the center, as he is able to get a shot on DJ Williams and keep him from intercepting that football. DJ Williams is just playing in the middle of the field, number 17, and he's going to just eye up the quarterback. He's not blitzing, and he sees it, and he gets his hand on it. Watch Scott Wells just hit him before he could gather the football back in. And that prevented the interception and the turnover for Miami.
First punt of the afternoon, Dustin Colquitt, who is a finalist for the Ray Guy Award. The left footer is back, and Ethnic Sands ready to return for Miami. Here's Colquitt, nice and high and deep. Sands back, has it at the 24. Good. And is knocked down as he kind of casually strolled for the sidelines.
He better get there quicker than that. It was a great kick by Colquitt and excellent coverage, and that's the kind of thing they have to do with their kicking game. Change field position.
That's a 56-yard punt for Dustin Colquitt, who ranks only 5th in the SEC. Still a finalist for the Ray Guy Award. And Ethnic Sands knocked down as he got near the sidelines. Miami second possession. Kevin Beard, Andre Johnson both come wide to the left. Eric Winston is in as a blocking back again. And they give it to McGahee. He goes right. What a season he's having. Over 1,000 yards. Erupted in the win over Florida the second week of September.
Another Tennessee player down at the end of that play on their sidelines. Rashad Baker, the free safety and the team's leading interceptor, a little slow getting up at the end of that play.
Edric Kendrick is also a slow departure from the sidelines.
I mean, McGahee, like Andre Johnson, a very physical player, and that's almost a similar injury to the one we saw with Willie Miles. Rashad Baker kind of leading in there with his headgear, and McGahee just lowered the boom.
15-yard gain for McGahee, and Jabari Greer in great position on Roscoe Parrish. Now, what do you see as the keys for Miami?
Well, I think first of all, they've got to start early, and they've done that. They've executed early, and they've got to make Kellen Winslow a primary target. I don't think Tennessee can match up with Winslow inside. Defensively, defend the run and then cover Jason Witten. He's their most valuable receiver. Number 3, be sound in the kicking game. I don't think they have to win special teams, but they can't afford to give up a big play.
Here's Dorsey on second down. McGahee, or it's Jason Getters, number 3. Nice defense against the run. And McGahee being checked on the sideline. A hard-hitting game so far.
You know, here's what we're seeing already and what Miami is finding out early in this football game. There are fast defenses that they play. As we take a look at McGahee, a little woozy after that hit with Rashad Baker. They've played fast defenses. Florida State is a fast defense, but this is the hardest hitting defense that they've ever played this season. I mean, Tennessee can run, but they are also a hard hitting unit, and we've seen some great collisions already early in this football game.
Dorsey, slow start, 1 of 6. The one was good for 27 yards.
It looks like Tennessee's coming after him on this one too.
It's a 3-man rush, zone before man rather. And the pass is complete to Kellen Winslow. That is good for a first down. A 12-yard gain when they needed 9.
Tennessee showed blitz that time and then dropped 8 back into coverage. But if you're going to drop that many guys, you got to be alert for those underneath throws. Ken Dorsey did a nice job of not getting greedy against the 8-man dropping and throwing underneath to Winslow. A little outlet receiver, the leading receiver on this football team as a sophomore. And again, I don't think in man-to-man or in zone that Tennessee matches up very well at all against number 81. He's too fast, too quick for linebackers, and too big for safeties.
First down from the 45. Play fake. Here's Dorsey looking deep. He drills it deep, and Jabari Greer almost had a second interception.
Yeah. Second time. I mean, then again, this is one of those situations when Ken Dorsey makes a bad decision or a bad throw. You got to capitalize. Greer in good position and can't come down with the interception. That was great coverage. He's got to finish the play.
Greer was a starter last year, has been relegated to a backup role, the nickelback this season, but in for Willie Miles now. Mark Jones is on the field for Rashad Baker, and Battle lines up. Who's going to come up and press on the top of your screen? Second down, flip it out of the backfield for Jason Getters. Jabril Wilson with a nice open field tackle, number 8.
Outstanding play by Jabril Wilson, because these Miami backs very quick, very elusive when they get outside. And that was just kind of excellent technique by Wilson, breaking down and not allowing that receiver to get outside of it.
3rd and 5. 3-3 ball game. Miami operates from the 40-yard line of the Tennessee Volunteers. Beard and Johnson go wide right. Ethnic Sands, bottom of the screen. Dorsey looks this way and completes it to Kellen Winslow for another first down at the 27-yard line. That's a gain of 13.
Yeah, again, he's a difficult guy to line up with. All right, here he is right here. Okay, now watch, he's just going to run a little out route, okay? and he's just a hard guy to cover. He was a wide receiver in high school, and that's a linebacker trying to cover him, and he runs excellent routes because of his wide receiver background. He is a guy that has proven to be a big playmaker, only a sophomore, for this Miami offense, and has really filled in great for Jeremy Shockey now with the Giants.
McGahee is back and gets the handoff and then runs into Eddie Moore. A shoulder-high tackle from the Tennessee tri-captain, number 37. Well, a doubleheader for you tomorrow as our coverage of the NFL continues on CBS. Early games: Indianapolis, Philly, San Diego, St. Louis, Houston, Tennessee, and Cincy at Baltimore. And late, Kansas City at San Francisco or New England at Chicago. It all begins with Jim, Boomer, Dion, and Dan Marino tomorrow at noon Eastern time. Ninth play of the drive in a 3-3 ball game. 5:25 to go, first quarter. Blitz, Dorsey, good protection. Completes it at the 21-yard line. That's going to bring up another third down.
So many weapons on this Miami offense. Excellent receivers on the outside. And the problem in defending Miami is because they've been so good at running the football, averaging almost 200 yards a game, you have to respect their run and how physical they can be. And then they hurt you with play action passes and just getting the ball in the hands of those explosive weapons. But it's set up by their ability to run the football.
Miami has converted 2 third downs in this drive. 3rd and 4 here. Dorsey again with time. Out of the backfield. Open field. Tackle is made on McGahee by Julian Battle.
Excellent play by Battle. Now the thing to remember about Battle is that he was formerly a strong safety. So he's been playing corner for the last 4 weeks, but he's 6'3" and 205 pounds. So he's used to being a physical player in run situations, and he does a nice job of wrapping up McGahee and taking him out of bounds short of the first down.
And now time has been called as they line up for the field goal. Julian Battle mentioned he assigned with Miami out of high school in West Palm Beach, Florida, but did not have the grade point average to enroll. He was sent out to Los Angeles Valley Community College while he played there, first as a running back, a wide receiver, and a DB. There was a coaching change in Miami. Butch Davis went to Cleveland. Larry Coker took over, and Julian Battle kind of got lost in the shuffle. So he then signed a letter of intent with North Carolina State, but was being recruited by Tennessee, changed his mind. Turns out that the national letter of intent is not valid unless signed by one's mother. He was 20 years old. He called his mom and said, "Don't sign the NC State letter. I'm going to go to Tennessee." Thus, he is here.
And he has worked out really well for this team. Again, started as strong safety and now has given them a physical presence as a cover corner guy on the outside.
Severs to break a 3-3 tie. Wow. He's got the strong leg. Knocks that one home easily from 39 yards away. Hurricanes lead it 6-3. 4:17 to go in the first. Homecoming weekend at the University of Tennessee. The Vols trail Miami by 3 with 4:17 to go in the opening quarter. Art Kehoe, one of a quartet of assistant coaches who played collegiately at Miami and stayed at their alma mater. He's chatting with Brett Romberg. I would think he's probably listening to Brett Romberg.
Well, they love their coach, too. I mean, he's been there a long time. He fits in great with those offensive linemen and has done an excellent job over the years with Miami offensive linemen.
Here's the kick from Severs. 2 touchbacks thus far. Make it 3 for 3.
Part of the reason the decisions to take a knee is how fast Miami gets down on kick coverage.
And let's check in with Jill Arrington.
Well, in talking about Julian Battle almost becoming a Hurricane, he met Andre Johnson down in Miami on their recruiting trip. They became friends. It's ironic that they're going up against each other today. But he said that they talked on the phone this week, and both of them are excited about showing the pride for their team. And funny, Julian said he said to him, "Man, please take it easy on me." He just laughed because he said, "Deep down, I can't wait to show what the Miami Hurricanes missed out on."
All right, Joe. First down and 10. Tony Brown in motion. Here's Clausen. He's missed his first 3. And he gets only to the line of scrimmage, and Matt Walters makes a hard tackle, and Casey gets up with a bit of a wry smile about that one.
Well, against this Miami defense, if the hole opens up, it doesn't stay open very quickly. There was a gap for a moment, and then Matt Walters closed it emphatically.
Talked with Randy Shannon, the defensive coordinator, said, who's playing the best on your team? That's the man he mentioned first.
That was the first name out of his mouth. He's a high energy guy, high motor, sets a great tempo for this defense.
2nd and 10. Clausen flips it out of the backfield, catches Troy Fleming, the fullback, and Fleming tackled by Rocky McIntosh, number 50, and that'll leave a need of just under 2 for a first down.
And a nice play on 2nd down. You know, don't try to get it all. Put up a 3rd and short yardage situation. They got a good matchup with Fleming coming out of the backfield on the redshirt freshman McIntosh. Fleming, there was some question whether he would even play today. Had a hip pointer in the game last week against South Carolina. Didn't do anything on Monday and Tuesday, but got better as the week progressed.
3rd and 2. This is a stingy Miami defense on 3rd down, and they get Tinsley out of the backfield, heading left for a first down at the 35-yard line.
Nice little misdirection. It's a little bit of a trick 'em play because you start action to the right. Watch the action start this way, and the Miami defense follows that action. You get those linebackers flowing that way just for an instant, and then you flip it out to Tinsley, who's got the speed to get the corner. Nice little call by Randy Sanders using the misdirection to get the first down.
1st down and 10. The first 3rd down conversion for the Vols. 2:45 to go in the first. And off Houston. He's got a 74-yard run. This one about 70 yards short of that. Well, last week, 241 yards on the ground against South Carolina. And exemplifying the kind of day it was is that 4th quarter drive. 17 plays, 15 on the ground.
And they, you know, that's what they call Tennessee football. Getting in the I formation, running the football, making a team get beat up, and then throw the football off play action. Randy Sanders said, you know, when you're getting 4 or 5 yards on 1st down, it makes it a whole lot easier to call plays on the sideline.
I formation again. Play fake. Clausen looks deep for Brown. He's got the foot, and he makes the catch, and a first down Tennessee at the Miami 39-yard line. Tony Brown.
Both of these offenses are so similar in that they want to get in the I formation and run, and then they make their big plays throwing the football off of play action. You see Kelly Jennings just looking at the run fake just long enough to allow Tony Brown to get outside. If you don't set up the run and establish the run, then play action is of no use. They're running the ball successfully enough that they're able to hit some play action.
Tony Brown, another Floridian, Lauderdale Lakes. He said he was recruited by Miami, but he was a Florida State fan at the time. That's a 23-yard gain. Here's the handoff to Troy Fleming, the fullback, and he gets to the 38-yard line. Tackle made by DJ Williams, number 17, and Matt Walters, number 91. Well, Miami has yielded a lot of yards on the ground in the last 3.
They sure have. I mean, teams have gashed them, and it's a large part because of their philosophy, how they choose to defend the run. I mean, they do it differently than just about anybody else in college football. And some teams like West Virginia, Florida State have been able to exploit that, but not beat them on the scoreboard.
94 yards on the ground today. Here's Clausen, the flip out of the backfield, and it is dropped. And I'm sure memories of a game against Alabama came to mind there. That was a forward pass. But against Alabama, recall that Gerald Dixon picked off a lateral and went 65 yards for a touchdown.
Now, this is just a play. It's kind of like a running play. You know, you get a lead blocker out there, you get the ball to a back quickly and let him try to make somebody miss. But Fleming, normally a very reliable receiver, not able to make the catch.
And now you play right into Miami's hands.
Absolutely. This is where Miami has been outstanding, holding their opponents to 23% conversions on 3rd down. They love to rush the passer, and they love to play bump and run, press man coverage on the outside.
From the 38, it's 3rd and 9. Clausen steps up, hit, dropped. And they are out of field goal range by a ton as well.
Cornelius Green, the guy who got the sack. I mean, they're too good in their front 4 if you get into situations where you have to drop back and throw, and they know it. It's Offenhusel who's trying to block on Cornelius Green, and Green just able to use his speed and quickness and get right around him for the sack.
Now Colquitt on for his second punt. He'll try and pooch this one. Roscoe Parrish waits for it at the 10. See if they try the coffin corner. Haven't seen that in a while. Now he's going left and tries to kick it out of bounds. Didn't make it. It'll come out to the 20. Yeah, that gives us a chance to go back to New York, get an update from Tim Brando.
All right, Vern, Colorado trying to stay in great shape in the Big 12 North. In overtime, Brad Smith to Darius Outlaw. He fumbles the football. It's recovered by Medford Moore, and the Buffaloes take out Missouri in OT 42-35. Vern?
Well, how good is that freshman quarterback from Missouri? He is going to have a great future in the Big 12. A run-pass threat like Seneca Wallace at Iowa State. A couple good young quarterbacks.
Miami first out from the 20. Handoff up the middle to McGahee. Boy, he's elusive. Big,
he's everything.
fast.
He's elusive. He's fast. He's incredibly strong and powerful. And a tough guy to tackle one-on-one.
CBS Sportsline Dennis Dodd is in Knoxville, bringing you his unique insight into this matchup and other key weekend games at CBSSportsline.com or on America Online. Enter keyword CBS Sportsline. And Dennis Dodd is a Missouri grad who's a little low in spirits after that Tim Brando update. Here's a pass deep and incomplete, and the flag is going to be thrown on Jabari Greer.
It was just a late push, and he was in good position, and I don't think that ball was close to being caught. But there was a push at the end. As you see Beard trying to get separation, and right there the push with the right hand, and really probably unnecessary because the ball was overthrown. So Big East officiating crew came down with Miami.
Pass interference gives the defense. Penalty is 15 yards from the previous spot. The period will be extended for untimed down. First down.
All right, so we will have one more play before this first quarter comes to an end.
I mentioned how these teams are so similar in that they want to get in the I formation and run the football, and then that sets up their play action passing game. And Ken Dorsey and Casey Clausen are both much more effective when the run game is established and they get bigger plays in the passing game off of play action. You force teams to hang in there and defend the run, commit extra guys to stop the run, and then you beat them with play action passes.
Some gaudy statistics for Ken Dorsey. He took over as a freshman, started the last 3 games of 1999. The only defeat when he was the starter was the last defeat for this team at Washington on September 9th, 2000. Here's Dorsey, deep left side to Andre Johnson. Got it, and the flag is down. They are picking on Jabari Greer, and they, Miami, are winning.
I just mentioned the play action. You know, you run the football, you make a defense commit extra guys. Now, they've got 2 receivers out here, but as Andre Johnson runs the takeoff one-on-one on Jabari Greer, it's a mismatch. Andre Johnson faster than Greer and taller and able to jump up and get the football. Greer 5'10", Andre Johnson 6'3". Big play for Miami.
Here's the hit on Ken Dorsey as he lets go of the ball, but it's a 44-yard gain. The penalty on Jabari Greer is declined, and it's a 1st and goal. Miami with a 3-point lead when we start the second quarter. That's the end of the first. With our score 6-3, Hurricanes will return to Neyland Stadium right after this message. Welcome all of you back to Neyland Stadium in Knoxville. We begin quarter number 2, 1st and goal, Miami.
Yeah, we wondered about how focused would Miami be in the first part of the game. 3 possessions, 3 times inside the 25.
McGahee gets the handoff on first down, goes left and picks up a couple. Amari Hand and Rashad Moore, numbers 91. Larry Coker, chatting with him earlier this week, said this is a big game. This is a 2-blimp game. Well, we don't have the 2 blimps here, but we've got this gorgeous shot, and it's quite a setting.
Does Aflac have a blimp?
We should encourage that, I think.
Huh. That's a great shot, though, right there.
Second goal. Tennessee Navy is here. Here's Dorsey back under some pressure at the goal line. It is caught and not a touchdown. The catch is made by Kevin Beard. It'll be third down. He stopped just short.
Well, the reason it wasn't a touchdown because it wasn't a very well thrown ball by Ken Dorsey. If he's able to hit Beard in stride, he slips underneath the tackle of Whiteside and makes the touchdown. But it was thrown behind him. As you take a look at Ken Dorsey's mom cheering on her son.
That is Maggie Dorsey, who traveled here in a recreational vehicle. Third down, toss right side. McGahee, touchdown, Miami. And that ties him with Edgerrin James for numbers of touchdown in a single season. That's his 17th.
3 tight end package for Miami. Eric Winston, number 87, gets a good block, along with Chris Myers, number 77, and then just the strength you see with Willis McGahee.
Todd Seaver's extra point is up and good. Now the big play was a 44-yard toss. Larry Coker's team out on top now in quest of its 31st consecutive win. 13:41 to go before halftime. Miami extends its lead as Willis McGahee gets his 17th rushing touchdown of the season, tying Edgerrin James, the all-time Miami record. Young man who began playing football at Miami Central in the 9th grade, was the starting tailback in that first game, started every game until he came to Miami, where he is now a redshirt sophomore, played behind Clinton Portis and Frank Gore. And here's the kickoff, out of bounds just short of the 20-yard line as Tennessee now tries to get back. Really had things under control despite trailing 6-3 until that last big play. Todd, let's give a little perspective to what this Miami team has done. 30 in a row.
It is amazing in this modern age of college football to win that many games. As you take a look at the longest win streaks all time, of course, Oklahoma with that #1 streak of 47 games. And you know, the one thing that Miami has done in their streak of winning is they have gotten up for big games and they have played well on the road, and they have come into this game very focused and they've executed very well.
Casey Clausen, draw play, defensive play made at the 15-yard line. Now that list is pretty extraordinary. Washington from 08 to 14. A footnote on Yale, 37 and 37. They won 37 from 87 to 89. They lost a game to Princeton. They came back and won 12 in a row, lost another game to Princeton, and then from 90 to 93 they won 37 more in a row under legendary Walter Camp. And no, I wasn't there.
I wasn't gonna.
Now, I could see the look in your eyes.
No.
Second down. There's the handoff out to the 19-yard line. It'll be third down. Well, Oklahoma, what are they doing? Let's check in with Tim.
Vern, Oklahoma leading 10-0, but they give up a 61-yard touchdown toss. Reggie McNeil to the speedster Terrence Murphy. Now they would block the extra point, so it's now a 10-6 game with OU in the red zone. Florida, look at this score, only up by 4 early in the 4th against Vanderbilt.
My goodness. That's a little unexpected. 3rd and 8 here. And Tennessee 1 of 4 on third downs. 3 men down for Miami. They're bringing the corner blitz. Kelly Jennings crossing avoids him and then throws it away. Tremendous pressure from the corner, Kelly Jennings.
Miami crunching it now a little bit on the run game. As you take a look the last 3 weeks in the BCS, Miami, the first week it came out #2, then they were #2 but losing a little bit of ground, and then they were passed this past week by Ohio State because of the quality win component. They were also dropped in the AP poll, which hurt their standing in the BCS, but the quality win, Ohio State got some points for their win over Washington State, and even though Miami has beaten Florida State and Florida, they haven't gotten any quality win points for them.
Off the side of the foot for Colquitt. Shanked it.
Pretty good pressure in there that time by the punt rush team from Miami. Marcus Maxey, number 24, in there. Kevin Beard also in there.
And Quadrine Hill, number 23. They brought the house. And as a result, that's a 14-yard Colquitt punt. Well, he's got anything but the Ray Guy Award on his mind right now. Dustin Colquitt off the side of his left foot for 14. Miami in great shape again.
Oscar winner William Hurt in
Monday on television's most watched new show, CSI Miami. This 2-year-old holds a secret to a crime so mysterious, so unthinkable, you'll have to see it to believe it. Don't miss an all-new CSI Miami Monday on CBS, America's most watched network.
Coming out of that timeout, I wouldn't be surprised to see Miami go play action and try to throw the ball down the field for a big play right here.
There's play action and a reverse. Roscoe Parrish coming right. Good stay-at-home job by Jabril Wilson, but he misses the tackle nevertheless. They hold him to a gain to the 27, and we check in with Jill Arrington.
Well, the battle wounds continue for Tennessee. It's unbelievable. 12 players have already missed a combined 37 starts this season. Now today, linebacker Robert Peace is out for the game with a right foot injury, and cornerback Willie Miles is also out for the game with a concussion. Once again, those backups have got to step up for Tennessee.
All right, Jill, and it seems to keep happening on the defensive side.
Yeah, Robert Peace has a shoulder injury that he's going to have to get surgery on at the end of the season. Now the foot injury on top of that.
2nd down and 3, Miami with a 10-point lead. Here comes the blitz, and Dorsey gets rid of it. You get a sense, Todd, that even though we're early second quarter, this is a very critical time of the game for Tennessee.
Absolutely. I mean, and you can hear the crowd has kind of quieted as we look at John Chavis, the defensive coordinator, choosing to go after Ken Dorsey on that 2nd down play, and they really need a stop. 5 times now they have blitzed Ken Dorsey. And that was the first pass that Dorsey has missed in a while. He started 1 of 6, and then he's hit his last 7 of 9 passes. And he has a 3rd down and 3 situation right here.
From the gun, Tennessee rushes 4. Dorsey steps up, drills it, and it's incomplete. It'll be 4th down.
Nice play by Jabril Wilson. He timed it perfectly. He got there right as the football got there, and he was able to knock it loose.
Wilson, another of the California junior college players. Hometown is San Jose, and he played collegiately at the City College of San Francisco. Now Todd Severs, 2 of 2 today. We'll try this one from 44. Freddie Capshaw will hold it. The kick is up.
Boy.
And he draws it in nicely again. Yeah, almost effortless. Severs is 3 of 3. And the Miami Hurricanes extend the lead to 13 points.
Hey, halftime report. Spencer Tillman and I will get you caught up on all of today's action, including another unbeaten in trouble. Bowling Green trailing Northern Illinois. Chateau Powers with a touchdown catch from Josh Halding. Back now to Miami and Tennessee.
.57 left here, 16-3 Miami. And Todd Severs getting ready to kick off for the 4th time already here in the first half. And the first 3 have not been returned.
And I think if this one is anywhere near being returnable, I think that Larkins needs to give it a shot. They're the 2nd team in the nation in returning kicks. Why not use that to a strength if Severs gives you a shot?
Well, this one will be taken by Larkins at the 2-yard line. Near side, gets a block, but he manages only the 20. Well, Larry Coker, 54 years of age, longtime high school coach, career-long assistant coach, was the offensive coordinator when he took over 2 years ago. 20-0. And that's a part of our Aflac. Oh, wow, I cheated. That's a part of our
Aflac
question. I forgot my role there for a moment. Right. The Aflac trivia question. Who holds the record for the best start by a Division 1A coach? We've mentioned his name already. A little clue. And I'll get out of the way here shortly. Here's Clausen, play action. Tipped. Jason Witten, incomplete. Tipped twice. Rocky McIntosh was the first one who got there.
See, Miami plays so much with 2 deep safeties that you think the middle of the field is where you want to attack. Well, that plays into Tennessee's hands. Here's the 2 deep safeties, and here's Jason Witten. They try to get him down the middle. But good coverage by the linebacker, McIntosh, who runs underneath the route and is able to get a hand on the football. Witten was open in terms of where the safeties were, but McIntosh able to get good underneath coverage.
Casey Clausen, slow start, 2 of 8. Finds his man and drops this one. Leonard Scott, world-class trackman. There's a flag down, but the problem with Leonard Scott has always been that moment when the ball arrives.
Yeah. And Tennessee into situations where, I mean, every missed opportunity is going to really be critical.
No flag on the last play. Leonard Scott, a part of the Tennessee track and field team. 3rd and 10 now. Blitz is threatened. Here's a reverse. Jonathan Wade's got great speed. He's got sprinter speed as well. And the freshman from Shreveport Evangel is out of bounds with a first down, a 16-yard gain.
A nice call by Randy Sanders. They needed a big play. They haven't got it with the throwing game, so now they're going to bring Wade in motion on the reverse, and the Miami defense is fooled by it. They're thinking rush the passer, and the reverse cuts right underneath the rushing defensive end. A well-timed call on the reverse, and Jonathan Wade gives Tennessee a little bit of a spark.
Wade with a time of 10.15 in 100 meters in high school. Here's the draw play, and it's Jabari Davis who's playing with that injured sternum, and not much there. Well, Larry Coker and Philip Fulmer, both in their 50s. They first met in 1979 when Philip Fulmer was an assistant coach on the staff at Wichita State University. Larry Coker was the head coach at Fairfax, Oklahoma. Fulmer came to recruit a man named Arthur Crosby. He doesn't remember it well. Coker says, I remember it vividly. 2nd down and 10. Clausen, nobody open. Lobs it for Witten. Got it! A one-handed catch. And the big tight end is wrestled down at the 37-yard line.
Credit the Tennessee offensive line on this play because Casey Clausen had about 5 seconds to throw the football. Jason Witten was not open initially. All right, the tight end Jason Witten is going to come across, and then he's just going to kind of drift out here, but watch the protection up front that Clausen has. He doesn't have anything now. He checks, he stays in the pocket, and Witten is able to kind of drift behind the defense and make the one-handed catch. But it started up front with those 5 guys protecting Casey Clausen.
That's a gain of 28. Witten heads to the bench for this play. Montrell Jones in motion on first down from the 36. Left side, Cedric Houston. Good pursuit by William Joseph, number 94. And a loss in the play back to the 40.
Well, William Joseph is a future first-round draft pick. He's 6'5", 282 pounds. Plays on the inside tackle position. Great explosiveness and quickness. And that time he just, that's kind of a slow developing play when you run that counter to the backside. And he just cut through there and tackled the ball carrier in the backfield. Very explosive down lineman.
His brother Carlos, a starter at offensive tackle. Both young men, sons of Haitian immigrants. 2nd down and 14. Here's Clausen. Deep. Got a man. Tripped up. And there is no flag.
And that's right. There shouldn't be a flag. They got their feet tangled up. There was no push. There was no, intentional contact. It was just a case where Alfonso Marshall got his feet tied up with Montrell Jones. It's single coverage as Miami plays almost the whole game. It's a post route. There's no contact. Watch, they just get their feet tangled up. And it was not intentional. And a good no call. And it brings up another 3rd down and long situation, which is difficult against this Miami defense.
Jason Witten back on the field. Montrell Jones wide right. 3rd and 14. Clausen dances left, pulls up, flag is down. This one will be holding against Tennessee and probably will be declined by Miami.
See, Tennessee can block these guys when there's a threat of a run and when Miami doesn't know exactly what's coming. When it's definitely a pass situation like 3rd down and 14 and these guys can pin their ears back and come, watch the pass rush. The ends up the field quickly. They've got to keep a back end to help Offenhuzel on that way. Herrera, who is starting his first game at left tackle, having his hands full on that side, protecting the backside of Casey Clausen. The best way to pass protect against Miami is to do it off of play action when the run is still part of the threat.
Herrera missed a couple of games with injuries. His value comes in his ability, as Todd said, to play all the spots on the line. But he's trying to replace Michael Munoz, who's fresh from his best game of the season at left tackle.
And he's their best offensive lineman, Munoz, so plays the most valuable position at left tackle, so a replacement there today.
Here's Colquitt. High, left side.
Good kick.
Yes, it was. Now we'll see where they spot the ball. Talk about an inexact science. I always love this march. Okay.
I thought it was a little better than that myself.
I did too.
From where we're standing or sitting.
30-yard punt out of bounds at the 10-yard line. Good to see the old coffin corner kickback. Miami defensive line on the sidelines now as the offense takes over with the worst field position they've had to start from today.
Yeah, 4 possessions for Miami, 4 scores. So very efficient execution by Miami.
Here's McGahee. Nice little shift at the line of scrimmage and manages 3 at right tackle. Well, time now for the answer to our question of the week. Miami coach Larry Coker won his first 20 games. Who is the record holder for the best start by Division I-A coach? Walter Camp a few years ago. 1888 to 1889. Barry Switzer started 21-0-1. Dick Crum on that list. Bill Battle. Here's Dorsey going deep, and it's caught by Andre Johnson. Nice tackle in the open field to hold him to the 20-yard line. Eddie Moore made the tackle. This might be enough for the first down. Well, Walter Camp, 28-1. Woodruff from Penn. Barry Switzer on the list, 73 and 74. Ron Meyer before he went to SMU, UNLV. Switzer at 73-74 team. That ties in with Ken Dorsey, who is 34-1 as a starter. This is not an official NCAA record, but Steve Davis was the starting quarterback at Oklahoma under Switzer. His record as a starter was 34 wins, 1-1. And here's the first down out to the 25-yard line.
Well, what a cut. What a cut by Willis McGahee. Now watch him. He's going to start right here and at the last minute cut back inside. It's all because of vision and patience. He doesn't rush the play. It's not open outside. He plants the right foot and cuts it back inside the block of his fullback Quatrine Hill and gets the first down easily. And Willis McGahee is the real deal at tailback. He's got speed, power, vision, elusiveness.
53 yards on 10 carries. He stopped on this one at the 26-yard line. 16-3 the score here. Let's see what's going on elsewhere. We'll check in with Tim Brando.
I may have some good news for Miami fans. Reggie McNeil, 40-yard touchdown pass to Greg Porter, and Oklahoma's lead has evaporated. It's 13-13. Elsewhere, Washington State scores. Guesser to Mike Bush, and the Cougars are up by 3. Vern?
All right, thank you, Tim. 16-3 on 2nd and 9. Here's Dorsey. Hands it off. McGahee coming right. Good pursuit defensively, and he's knocked down at the 30-yard line. Willis McGahee actually did not start the first game this fall rather. Jason Gathers started the opener and picked up 199 yards, but then in week 2 McGahee came on, picked up that 214 total in the convincing win at the Swamp in Gainesville. They won it 41-16. 3rd and 5 now. Crowd trying to urge this volunteer defense on. They have 3 down, and they will drop 8. Dorsey, nobody open. Pulls up, runs, and gets the first down at the 38-yard line. Ken Dorsey. His mom, Maggie, bought an RV, moved it to Miami for this, his senior season, and she has followed him in all of his games. And this is this morning in her RV. That's the dog, Frank. The 2 cats were asleep.
They were smart. It's cold out this morning.
About 10 miles outside of town, and Maggie's husband, Tom, flew into the airport, picked her up, and they are here at the game. But she has had some trip now. She left after the Florida State game and went north to Piscataway after stopping first in Morgantown, West Virginia. And Miami has called a timeout. First down and 10. Hurricanes lead 16-3. .5:18 to go first half. 16-3 Miami, and they've got a first down and 10 at the 38-yard line.
And if Tennessee hopes to have any chance of winning this game, they need a big stop in this possession.
McGahee. Nice first down play to the 45-yard line. Well, we talked about Maggie Dorsey's decision to move into South Florida in the RV and follow Ken in the senior season. She motored north to Morgantown, West Virginia 2 weeks ago, then up to Piscataway, and then came east to Knoxville. Week off next week, so she'll head back to Miami.
What do you think she thought when she opened her front door this morning and saw Mike Rowe there?
Mike is one of our handheld cameramen. That'd scare anybody. 4:40 to go. Here's McGahee. And Jason Mitchell, number 35, with the tackle.
And what we're seeing as this game gets on in, the Miami offensive line starting to establish themselves up front. And
there's the pride of New Orleans.
There he is. Big Bayou Bengal fan. They got a big win today.
Oh, he's going to be hard to live with now. First down and 10 from the 50. 16-3. Miami. Play fake. Dorsey drills it left side. Has a man open at the 38. Catch is made by Ethnic Sands.
And again, it's play action. Because they're able to run the football, that forces Tennessee to really, pay attention to the run, and then they don't get into drop coverage as well. And right now we're seeing Ken Dorsey very comfortable. Play action fake, good protection. Dorsey able to look, set his feet, and make the good throw. It starts with the running game.
Now, Philip Fulmer almost guaranteed us yesterday they would not be able to run against them. Tennessee, that is, and they've got 85 yards rushing already, which sets up that play action pass. Handoff right side. McGahee gets to the corner, surges inside the 25 and down at the 23-yard line. That's another big gain of 16.
Take a look at Willis McGahee. Again, the power, the strength, and then just the flat out speed to get to the corner on a very fast Tennessee defense. Picking them up and putting them down right there. And one of the things that is kind of a misnomer about Miami offense, you think of Miami, you think palm trees, quarterbacks, wide receivers, wide open offense. They are a lineup, run the football and pound you football team more than anything else.
How about that nifty change of pace? What a little maneuver behind the line from McGahee. And he's got yet another Miami first down on a 12-yard gain.
Take a look at the blocking on the right side. Chris Myers, Vernon Carey, Eric Winston, the true freshman tight end, number 87, driving his guy out of there. The great thing about Willis McGahee, Vern, is here is a guy who he saw his window of opportunity. When Clinton Portis left and Frank Gore got hurt, McGahee saw his opportunity to be the guy, and he capitalized on it. Had a great summer preparing himself, and he's reaping the benefits now.
Here's McGahee left side. This drive began, don't forget, back at the 10-yard line. They've already consumed 5.5 minutes, and they're looking at a 2nd and goal.
This looks like the drive we saw last week at the end of the South Carolina game by Tennessee. 17 plays, close to 90 yards, almost all runs. Look at this current drive, 12 plays, and the clock just going away. But they're able to mix some play action pass in. But it's power football out of the I formation.
Double tight end, the sweep to the right. There's a good defensive play from Julian Battle to knock McGahee out of bounds, and Rashad Baker back on the field after suffering that stinger earlier.
Now that last formation that Miami had, they had Andre Johnson, the only receiver, out to the left, and he had single coverage on Jabari Greer. And Julian Battle was on the other side and playing more run defense. Be interesting to see if they try to go at that matchup against Greer on this 3rd down play.
Well, it'll be Ethnic Sands and Kevin Beard who break off to the left side. Sands will be defended by Jabari Greer. Beard is the inside man. Dorsey looks that way, fires in the end zone, incomplete.
Nice blitz. Good idea by John Chavis. He brought Jabril Wilson, the strong safety, on a blitz, and that forced Dorsey to make an inaccurate throw. Ideally, Tennessee would have loved to have stopped him to nothing on this drive, but this is the next best scenario. Make him kick a field goal.
Todd Severs, perfect 3 of 3 thus far. Capshaw holds it. And they keep adding threes to the scoreboard. They've yet to punt. Miami goes 90 yards this time. They get a 25-yard field goal and lead by 16. Willis McGahee with a big first half to continue a big season. Closing in on a 100-yard day. He's at it right now, and this is his 7th 100-yard rushing effort of the season. Todd Severs will kick off. He's had 1 of 4 returns so far. Out of Ankeny, Iowa. This one goes into the hands of Corey Larkins at the 1-yard line. Good downfield coverage by Miami will force Tennessee to start inside the 15. Wednesday on CBS. This week on The Amazing Race, the teams travel through a maze of Moroccan streets and encounter a roadblock no one could predict. Don't miss The Amazing Race Wednesday here on CBS, America's most watched network. Volunteers desperately in need of something here with 1:52 to go before the break.
But it's a 2-score football game because of that stop to force a field goal. So Casey Clausen, the worst thing to do now is force something and let Miami score again.
Handoff, Houston up the middle, fumble picked up by Sean Taylor, and they're going to say he was down by contact. No fumble on the play. So Tennessee retains possession at the 22-yard line.
And this is where Tennessee really needs to be careful. They cannot afford to do something silly and give the ball back to Miami. Good run by Houston. Boy. Very close.
Toss right side, out of bounds. Houston. Let's look at that play again.
Take another look now. Maurice Sykes is the guy who's going to make the hit. And that looked very close. All right, here's probably the best look. Did the ground cause the fumble, or did it pop out sooner?
Well, the call was made, and it will stand. 2nd down. Clausen out of the shotgun. 2 wide receivers left, and let's see if McDougal was drawn offside.
Offsides, defense, 5 yards, remains, 1st down.
Look at it again. Houston, did he or did he not?
The hit by Sykes, that's a fumble.
Yes,
the ball was out before his knees were on the ground. It was a good tackle, a good punch out by Sykes. And there's the ball is out before any part of Cedric Houston's body hits the ground. A missed call and a great opportunity for Tennessee here right before the half.
1st and 5 from the 33. Pressure coming from Jamal Green. Clausen goes down. Green got to him. And time now for our virtual playbook.
Well, there's been a lot of talk about Miami defending the run, and their philosophy is to play bump and run coverage and have 2 deep safeties almost all the time. They believe that they can play the run with just 7 guys in the box. They don't want to commit any more guys to stopping the run. Most teams drop another safety down. This was a couple weeks ago against Florida State, who ran for a lot of yards. You see, the safeties have to make the tackle at the end of the play, but they like to keep their philosophy of not involving their safeties. 109 yards rushing for Tennessee today, but 74 of that on 1 play.
Time has been called. 1:07 to go. Gateway halftime report coming up with Tim and Spencer. Scores and highlights of all the games around the country as we head toward the culmination of this season. Anything,
I think what
caught your attention today?
Well, what's caught my attention so far is that this is a focused Miami team. Obviously, they came in here with a chip on their shoulder to prove that they are the best team in America, and they have done everything right here in the first half. And I want to make another point about an observation about Miami in a minute.
2nd and 9. Clausen screen pass left side, and they read the screen perfectly.
Here's the other thing about Miami. You see them just kind of congratulating each other, but there's no showboating. There's no chest thumping. There's no taunting. There's nothing. They're just playing the game. They're executing on offense. They're getting after it on defense, and they're just playing the game.
Let's hear an amen for Larry Coker and his staff for inculcating that kind of an attitude in this Miami team. Time has been called again. On the Tennessee sideline, Randy Sanders, a former Tennessee quarterback, now the offensive coordinator, chats with Casey Clausen. Casey, we got a couple of California kids here. Casey signed out of Orinda, California, or Northridge rather. It was Ken Dorsey who wanted to come here, made an unofficial visit here in 1998 for the Tennessee-Alabama game, but he was not offered a scholarship. Instead, the offer went to Chris Sims, who's now the starter at Texas. It's a very involved world, isn't it, sometimes? 3rd and 11. Here's Clausen. And he's dropped at the 20-yard line. 43 seconds to go. See if Miami opts to use its final timeout. They've got one left.
Miami is not complex at all on defense. They rarely blitz. They play bump and run man-to-man coverage, and they love to rush the passer. Good coverage downfield, and the rush finally got to Clausen.
19-3 with 42 seconds to go. Let's check that last play, Todd.
Well, first of all, you're only going to see 4-man rush. Okay, these are the only guys going to rush. But watch this coverage develop downfield. As Casey Clausen starts out, he has decent protection. But then when he's ready to throw, there's nobody open. No orange jersey can get away from the bump and run coverage. And by that time, then, the 4-man rush gets to him. And this is, again, Miami is not complicated. They play very little zone. They do very little other than play man-to-man underneath. Sometimes they will rotate the safeties into a free situation, but most of the time they keep 2 deep safeties and play man underneath.
Dustin Colquitt on the punt, and Roscoe Parrish lets it bounce. It does, and goes out of bounds at the 39-yard line. 41-yard punt, nothing on the return. And Ken Dorsey and the Miami Hurricanes back on offense, out of timeouts, but they're at the 39. Just to complete that Dorsey story, he and his mom Maggie made an unofficial visit here, and Chris Sims was visiting at the same time from New Jersey. The scholarship offer went to Chris Sims, who, as you think most of you know, later changed his mind and went to Texas. By that time, Dorsey had committed to Miami. Philip Fulmer's staff called him back. He said, no thanks.
Yeah.
I'm happy where I am. And that ultimately opened up a position for Casey Clausen. Here's Dorsey underneath. Andre Johnson out of bounds to stop the clock at the 49-yard line, a gain of 12.
Dorsey did a nice job of standing in there under heat because Omari Hand put a good lick on him at the end of this play. But he finds Andre Johnson, the speedy receiver, on the crossing route. That's a big target, crossing right into the quarterback's vision. Watch the hit by Hand, but Dorsey able to deliver the good throw. You know what happens a lot of times with quarterbacks in college football is many of them get offered at the same time, and whoever chooses first, usually that kind of sets off a chain reaction of where everybody else goes.
Here's Dorsey across the middle, incomplete behind the intended receiver. Were you always destined for Penn State? Did you struggle with that decision?
No, I mean, I did struggle with it. I mean, I visited 4 schools, and it's different now because you get early commitments now, and guys taking visits during the season and making early decisions before their senior season. That didn't happen when I played, but I visited Penn State, Michigan State, Notre Dame, and right here in Knoxville at Tennessee, and it was a very difficult decision to make, but I didn't make my decision until the signing date in February.
2nd and 10, 19-3 Miami. Dorsey comes near side for Roscoe Parrish, out of bounds. That stops the clock with 13 seconds left.
I want to show you just the completeness of Willis McGahee. Now watch this guy right here. Watch him get in and pick up the blitz. I mean, just gives up his body, and that gives him enough time, Dorsey, to make the throw to Parrish. If McGahee doesn't slide over and get a solid block, Dorsey doesn't make that throw. We've seen McGahee run, we've seen him catch, and he'll stand in there and block for his quarterback as well.
And a first down at the 34. It would be a 51 or 2-yard field goal if they tried it from this position for Todd Sievers.
Andre Johnson down at the bottom of the screen, single coverage.
Julian Battle, they go toward him. And he calls a timeout. They stop the clock. No timeouts. And the clock stops while they move the first down chain.
And they might see Ken Dorsey spike the football here. No timeouts. They'll get one more shot at the end zone and then be able to kick a field goal.
7 seconds when the clock starts. There it is. And there is the field goal. 2 seconds, bring on Todd Sievers.
I thought they might be able to get one more shot at it, but only 2 seconds left. A well-executed 2-minute offense by Ken Dorsey and the Miami Hurricanes, and a chance to get 3 more before the break. Boy, they are sharp. I mean, I thought that we would see their most complete game, and we've seen that here in the first 30 minutes. Offense and defense, they've controlled this football game.
Well, this goes into the category of human after all. Sievers hooks it. After hitting 4 of 4 with authority, misses badly on this one. And that brings us to a halftime break. But Miami in control on both sides of the ball thus far. 19-3 Miami. They lead it as we get set for the start of the third quarter. Vern Lundquist, Todd Blackledge, and Jill Arrington. Miami won the toss to begin the game, deferred their option till the second half. And this game, as all of our games on Saturday afternoon, brought to you in high definition television. Tennessee with an early 3-0 lead. Miami notched it on their first drive, and then they have dominated since that point. Philip Newman will kick off for Tennessee. And here is Jarrett Payton, number 34, son of Walter, in his junior season now. He's had an injury-plagued career at Miami, listed as the third team running back. Newman to kick off. Jason Gathers is the other man deep. And this will be taken by Jarrett Payton at the goal line. Eludes the first contact, then Jabril Wilson meets him shoulder high and knocks him down at the 15-yard line. Just a moment ago, Jill Arrington chatted with Miami coach Larry Coker.
Coach Coker, you told us coming into this game you wanted to get back to playing Miami football after all the criticism last week. Well, only 1 touchdown, 4 field goals. Are you playing the way you want your team to?
Well, we're playing very hard. We're playing pretty well and playing hard and playing better, Jill. Again, we'd love to have the touchdowns. We'd love to have the field goals in the half, but offense, defense, and special teams, we're really complementing each other well, and we're playing very, very well.
All right, Coach. Well, thanks. Good luck.
Thank you.
First down and 10. Ken Dorsey will hand it off to McGahee, and he's got some room. And the elusive tailback, a quick gain of perhaps 10 all the way out to the 25-yard line. Looks like he's picked up another first down. Well, it's the second time, Todd, that we've seen this Miami team. We saw them dominate Florida. Comparison then to now.
I think they're better today. They were sloppy in that game against Florida. They put it away late, but they let Florida hang around. They have been methodical and dominating in this game. I'm not sure what a root canal feels like, but I'm sure that's what Philip Fulmer feels like right now. Offensively, Miami that first half, they gained 285 yards. They averaged over 6 yards a play. On defense, after that first series, they totally shut down the Volunteer offense.
They get a first down on the first play and now flip it out to the left side. McGahee being chased by Eddie Moore. And then the job completed by Jabari Greer, number 33. Let's take you through the first half highlights. In the opening series, it was Cedric Houston who got into the secondary and then headed to his right. A 74-yard run, but Miami stiffened and held on first and goal from the 4 at Walls with a field goal. Then McGahee led the way. They got a field goal to tie it up. McGahee with a lot of big runs and then a 2-yard touchdown, his 17th rushing touchdown of the season. And there's a flag in the last play, then a series of field goals by Todd Sievers, and we're at 19-3 right now, and a penalty against Tennessee on the last play. John Smith, the Big East referee.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, defense. 15 yards from succeeding spot. First down by penalty.
Yeah, that brings up another point. Both of these teams are heavily penalized football teams. Only 2 apiece in this game so far.
Yeah, they both played pretty well. Now that one, I don't know exactly what happened. My guess is maybe there was a little talking at the end of that play. that resulted in the unsportsmanlike.
First down out to the 43. Dorsey play fake, gets a great block from McGahee again, and here's a pass that is incomplete to Quadrine Hill. Willis McGahee cut the linebacker, or the defensive end, and let's go back to the trash talk that was going on.
Yeah, Rashad Moore, number 58, in the middle of that, and you know, not something you expect out of your senior defensive ends. We take a look at James Banks. Again, remember a couple things. Casey Clausen, first of all, is not playing at 100% with his foot and ankle injury. And I think Tennessee is desperate to find some spark on offense. And James Banks, with his ability to run, might give them a spark against this Miami defense.
Colby is in at fullback. The handoff goes to McGahee out to the 46-yard line. Well, Philip Fulmer and Randy Sanders telling us yesterday they did expect to play James Banks in this ball game, so it won't be a surprise if we see him make an appearance.
Some of the teams, particularly West Virginia, had some success against Miami with their quarterback running the football. They ran for 363 yards against Miami, and the quarterback a big part of that. As you see Philip Fulmer encouraging his defense, a huge third down situation right now for Miami.
Miami has converted 6 of 10 third downs. Motion on the right side, no flag. Here's Dorsey with pressure, lets it go, tip, and then caught by Roscoe Parrish, number 1.
Great rush by Omari Hand.
Nope, now they say incomplete.
Excellent rush by Omari Hand. He got there and forced the bad throw. Take a look at Omari Hand just running right through Vernon Carey. Now Carey much bigger than Hand. Carey's listed at 330, but bigger than that, but leverage that time by Omari Hand forced the bad throw. Look at the rush by Omari Hand. And Dorsey probably shouldn't even have thrown that one.
This is the first Miami punt today. Freddie Capshaw is having a poor season, and it's fielded at the 1. The step back in by Mark Jones into the end zone. My, oh my, oh my. How do you field a punt at the 1-yard line?
Well, my only thought is that Mark Jones thought he was at the 10-yard line and not at the goal line. You never, ever field that punt. You put your heels on the 10. If it goes over your head, you let it go. And that's exactly what Phil Fulmer's talking about. Tennessee had to have a win in the kicking game. That was not a win.
New quarterback for Tennessee, James Banks.
Yeah, and the first thing James has to do is make sure he gets the snap from Scott Wells inside his own 5-yard line.
There's a handoff. Big opener. They got 6 out to the 9-yard line. And let's check in with Jill Arrington on the sideline.
Well, Vern, it's gone from bad to worse for Tennessee. Starting quarterback Casey Clausen is out for the game. He has re-injured that right foot. Todd, they told us last week it was so sore, and if he got hit, he might be out. Well, he is. He is out. They're taping him up in the locker room, but Banks will stay in for him.
Yeah, Randy Sanders told us he didn't think he was going to play at all on Monday and Tuesday. Did very little, got better as the week went on, but was still about 60 to 70% coming into the game. And now the freshman Banks has to run the show.
Hand off to Houston, and he is stuffed by this Miami defense. Well, the injury occurred for Casey Clausen last week at South Carolina. It happened on this play as he was bent over backwards when sacked. And he had a combination. It's 3 things on the right foot. He's got a high ankle sprain, an Achilles, and a bruise. And add that to a fractured bone in his left shoulder. Walking wounded, literally.
In a very dangerous situation right now for James Banks. 3rd down and 3. Probably see him keep the football here.
Freshman from Indianapolis, Indiana. Play action, has to get rid of it because of the pressure. Fleming tries to get the first down and does. Fleming to the 15.
Boy, a nice job of James Banks coming into the game cold, throwing it under pressure. Jamal Green is going to be right in his grill, and he gets rid of the football, and then watch Fleming fight for the first down. Does a nice job of running through the tackle of Maurice Sykes. Now, what James Banks brings to the table is he is an excellent runner, a very elusive guy, a hard guy to tackle. It'll be interesting to see if Miami changes their defensive philosophy and brings a safety in to kind of account for the quarterback. West Virginia hurt them with the quarterback running the football.
Here's Banks handing off, and it goes to Cedric Houston for a couple of yards. Well, Tennessee on offense now. First possession of this quarter. They got a 74-yard run on the opening series of the game, but then 5 punts in succession.
That never looks good on a drive chart. Punt times 5.
Not unless you're a punting fan.
That's right. We know Dustin Colquitt will indeed have to take a shower after the game today.
Yeah. 2nd down and 7. Draw play, but excellent defensive job. DJ Williams is there to make the tackle. We go back to Tim Brando and an update on Oklahoma and A&M.
All right, Vernon, the Reggie McNeil show continues. Look at this beautiful play action fake. And here he hits Terrence Murphy for the touchdown, and Oklahoma's just fumbled again, so they're in great shape. And Syracuse now leading Virginia Tech 22-21. Walter Reyes takes it in from 9 yards out. He's played really well the last couple of weeks.
All right, Tim. 19-3 here. Tennessee with a 3rd down again. And Banks will go from the shotgun. 6'3", 195-pounder. And there is confusion on the field for Tennessee. They've got to utilize a timeout. So time called with 9:57 to go. 3rd quarter of play. 7,000 on hand at Neyland Stadium. Miami leading by 16. And the Volunteers with backup quarterback James Banks in at quarterback, looking at a 3rd down and 4 from their own 21. Corner blitz. Banks.
Good call.
And they handed it off, and there was a slip. There's a look at the crowd at Neyland Stadium on homecoming weekend. 107,000 plus. As these two teams play for only the 2nd time ever. There will be a return engagement next year in the Orange Bowl. Miami comes in ranked number 1 in one poll, 2nd in the other, and 3rd in the BCS, and showing us that perhaps they deserved a little better in the recent balloting. There's a one-hopper back to Colquitt. Nice job of controlling it, and then he booms it. Roscoe Parrish over the shoulder at the 23.
Dangerous guy.
They get him at the 40.
You know, I said good call on that 3rd down play. I meant good call by Randy Shannon, the defensive coordinator, calling for that corner blitz. They anticipated the run by Banks, and it was a perfect call by Randy Shannon and this Miami defense.
And now the offense has the ball with a 16-point lead. Back at Neyland Stadium, 19-3, Miami going after their 31st consecutive win in a row. Kyle Kobia, Willis McGahee, the running backs, Ken Dorsey in at quarterback under Brent Romberg. There's play fake. Dorsey looking right, throws it short, and it is caught by Kellen Winslow, number 81.
And did you see the explosiveness of Winslow on that catch? I mean, this is why he is not a normal tight end. Watch after he makes this short catch. Here's Winslow right here, number 81. Watch after he makes the catch, how quickly he explodes up the field. It's a little delay, and then watch. He turns upfield, and he is gone. I mean, that is speed like a wide receiver and the strength of the stiff arm of a tight end.
And Ken Dorsey has just surpassed Donovan McNabb, number of passing yards in the Big East. He's the record holder. Here's the handoff to McGahee coming right. And McGahee with another outstanding run down to the 31-yard line. Casey Clausen coming back on the sideline, that injured right foot. He is a valiant young man.
He's a very, very tough quarterback, and he has earned the respect of his teammates for his ability to play through pain, and but just unable to go anymore today. And now this Miami offense, I mean, it just looks so easy for him. I mean, this is a good Tennessee defense, but because of the balance, the running of McGahee and the throwing of Dorsey, very tough to defend.
Aggies continue to lead Oklahoma, which is nothing but good news, of course, for Miami. Ohio State with a narrow win today, 10-6. over Purdue. It's 19-3 here. I keep thinking back to us watching the Georgia-Florida game together last Saturday night and talking about this one. And you said, I guarantee you Miami is going to get ripped in the papers and on talk shows, and they're going to come in here angry.
Yeah, well, and that's exactly what happened. And they used all of that to motivate them this week. And, you know, quite honestly, I think when they went to play Rutgers, they didn't get excited about that game. That game bored them. This was a game they could really look at and say, hey, let's put on a show and let's prove to people how good we really are.
Screen pass perfectly executed. McGahee. And he's still on his feet, finally tackled at the 12-yard line. That's a gain of 18, and what a job Dorsey and the offensive line did in letting that one develop.
Again, we talked about were they better than they were against Florida. They looked dominant in that game at times, but they also made a lot of mistakes. The execution in this game, watch the screen set up. You have to have patience. You invite the rush and then flip it out. And Rashad Moore trying to chase down McGahee with all he's got. But excellent timing on the screen by Miami.
There's McGahee dancing his way in. This one's going to come back, I would believe. Saw the flag thrown at the 12-yard line.
And the only thing that's stopping this Miami offense right now is that, a penalty.
Well, you want the Tennessee season in summation? Clausen, Herrera starting his first game at tackle because Munoz is out. And that doesn't even begin to address the issue of injuries on the defensive side, where Kevin Burnett, their best player, Kevin Simon, a fine young man, as a backup. You see the crutches all over. It looks like Revolutionary War poster.
That's Robert Peace with the ball cap. I mean, he started the game at the inside linebacker position, so they are really down. Corey Larkin's on crutches, their kickoff return man.
Well, Herrera is getting a kick out of something, that Larkin said, but his team is down 19-3. Here's Dorsey blitz. It comes across the middle after the holding call on a 1st and 20.
Great catch by Kellen Winslow. I mean, he makes this look easy, but this was a very difficult catch. Running the little crossing route and had to reach down to a low ball. You see his 4th catch of the day. He had 6 last week in the win over Rutgers. He was the leading receiver on this Miami team coming in. And Rob Chudzinski, who is the offensive coordinator, a former tight end at Miami, loves coaching this guy. I mean, there's Chud right there. Loves coaching him because he's such a competitor. He's not a big guy, but he really fights as a blocker, and he's an excellent receiver, and he really wants to be good.
2nd down, 11. McGahee dances to the right side. It's Jason Geathers, number 3, instead of McGahee. Well, Ken Dorsey going after his 35th victory as a starter. All-time leader in touchdown passes in the Big East. These are Big East rankings. Passing yardage first, pass completions, 2nd in total offense behind Donovan McNabb, and 2nd in pass attempts to Henry Burris from
Temple. Feisty Nightbirds almost pulled the upset of Pitt today.
The other feisty Nightbirds got beaten by Boise State today, 59-0. That would be Rice.
They got their wings clipped today, didn't they?
3rd down. Dorsey got him open. Winslow, this might come back. Touchdown Winslow if the play stands. There's a flag in the end zone. Well, Miami thinks this is going to go against Tennessee.
Holding, defense, penalty is declined. Result of the play, touchdown.
Well, it's Kellen Winslow again. I mean, here he is right here. Now watch him just run the crossing route, and they clear it out with those 3 receivers on the top. They isolate Winslow, they clear out the space, and he takes it in the end zone. Well executed again by the Miami offense.
Todd Severs for the extra point. Dorsey's first touchdown toss today. Capshaw holds it. Severs cuts it inside the right upright. Kellen Winslow with 5 receptions, 67 yards, and a touchdown. And it's 26-3 Miami.
And the guys that have preceded him here at Miami, I mean, they've got a great tradition for tight ends, and was a good friend of Jeremy Shockey's and has really stepped up as a big play guy.
Here's the kick from Severs. Leonard Scott back now. You saw Corey Larkins on crutches, and here's Scott a yard in. And he will bring it out. Does so to the 14-yard line. Well, I can't mention Kellen Winslow without also mentioning that he used to catch passes as a boy from Dan Phelps. And time to go back to Tim Brando in New York.
Colorado goes as much as Chris Brown goes. Today he is on go-go as we look at our Kinko's top performance of the day. 2 touchdowns here, 3 on the day, including the game winner 42-35 over Missouri. Back to Vern.
All right, thank you, Tim. 42-35, Buffs win. Miami controlling this one 26-3.
Chris Brown's in that Heisman picture. It's still cloudy at this point.
There's Banks, and you give me a chance to give a gratuitous prop to the Doak Walker Award, which will be given to the outstanding running back, as it is each year.
Well, this guy right here, sacks, a couple pressures, and again, he's working against a new left tackle in Anthony Herrera. Herrera more guard this year than tackle, playing for the injured Munoz, and Jamal Green with 5 tackles and a handful of pressures to go with it.
2nd down and 10. 26-3. Play clock. They do get the play called, and it's a give to the fullback. Troy Fleming. Well, this is about as wide open a Heisman Trophy race as I can remember, with guys coming into the top 5 and out. How do you assess things here?
Well, I mean, these are the 4 guys that I could fit on the panel, but you could really put another panel up with other guys. Byron Leftwich, you know, is in there. Seneca Wallace from Iowa State. Chris Brown, we just mentioned, from Colorado. I think all of those guys are still very much in the picture. I think right now, if I had to vote today, I would probably vote for Willis McGahee. I think that he has done more than anyone else week in and week out.
Here's Banks on the run. Caught and dropped. It'll be 4th down.
What a nice play by Matt Walters. I mean, you know, we talk about Tennessee's speed on defense, but this Miami defense, exceptionally fast at all positions. That's a defensive tackle, Matt Walters, who's going to come off of his pass rush. Here he is right here. Watch him come off his pass rush and make the play on a very fast and elusive quarterback. He rushes, he sees the scramble, he comes off the block, and he makes the tackle.
That brings on Dustin Colquitt again, his 7th punt. And he booms this one again. Roscoe Parrish has it at the 31-yard line. Oh, he is dangerous. Watch out. Knocked out of bounds by Jason Witten. It's 1-on-1, literally. A 55-yard punt, 21-yard on the return. Now let's take a look at the SEC moment presented by Sonic. These two teams' one and only meeting came in the 1986 Sugar Bowl. Miami came in ranked 2nd and with a chance to win the national title. The Canes rang in the New Year first with an 18-yard catch. Michael Irvin from Vinny Testaverde. But it was all balls after that as they forced 6 Miami turnovers, won 35-7 with 35 unanswered points.
They also sacked Testaverde 7 times in that game, and they've not been able to generate that kind of pressure today on Ken Dorsey.
There's McGahee down to the 38. You know, the form for the Heisman seems to be that a guy gets promoted as a sophomore, gets into the race, then comes back as a junior or a senior. It's fairly rare, is it not, for a guy who was a second teamer in August to suddenly be seriously mentioned as a Heisman leading Heisman.
During the run, holding offense. The penalties from the previous spot, 10 yards, remains 1st down.
I think part of that is because so much talk is generated about the Heisman before the season even starts, which I don't think is right. I think they should wait, you know, and let guys start to play and see who emerges. And that's one of the things that's been so, I think, exciting about this year when you talk about the Heisman is that, I mean, that list has kind of fluctuated and changed from week in to week out. And that's what you want to determine. Who has been the best player in college football in one season?
Here's the handoff from one Heisman hopeful to another. Ken Dorsey, regarded by many as the leading contender at this point in the season, in large measure, I think, because of the totality of his accomplishment at Miami. The fact that he is 34-1, soon to be 35-1 as a starter.
Also the leading contender for the Davey O'Brien Award, and for the top quarterback in the country. You see his numbers today, very methodical. I mean, that's the word. They have been efficient, methodical. They have just dominated the game with their offensive line, and they've had a great mixture of run and pass.
Here's McGahee's 26th carry of the game, and he's down at the 48-yard line. Sunday on CBS, Oscar winner William Hurt stars as FBI agent Robert Hansen in a true story of the worst traitor in American history. Find out why he did it and the evidence that gave him away. A CBS television event, Master Spy, the Robert Hansen story, Sunday on CBS, America's most watched network. 3rd down and 10. Dorsey puts 2 receivers wide left, Winslow in a slot. Now Winslow starts in motion, then goes back. Here's Dorsey, flags flutter, and the pass is incomplete to McGahee. We'll see what the infraction might be. The illegal shift option with Tennessee. It'll cost them 5, but they may elect to forego the penalty and get the ball back.
Offense, 2 men moving and no reset. That penalty has been declined. 4th down.
So 4th and 10. That'll bring on Freddie Capshaw for only the 2nd time today.
Well, he didn't punt at all in the first half, so he's gotten all his work here in the second half, or in the 3rd quarter, and has a chance to pin Tennessee back in bad field position again.
And this one allowed to head toward the end zone, and does go into the checkerboard square for a touchback. 1:04 to go in the 3rd. Tim Brando. Let's go back to New York and check in with Tim.
Vern, another strange and bizarre one. Walter Reyes takes it in from 6 yards out, his 3rd touchdown of the game, but they missed the extra point. So now the score is 28-21, and Syracuse trying to pull off the unthinkable against Virginia Tech.
My goodness, Tim, I watched that Pittsburgh-Virginia Tech game the other night, and Pittsburgh looked awfully good.
Well, if that holds, that really affects Miami in the BCS, because Miami still has Pittsburgh and Virginia Tech and Syracuse to play before this season is done. They want Virginia Tech to be only with 1 loss when they play them.
There's the handoff to Houston out to the 26-yard line.
Now, the problem for Tennessee in this game, we've talked about their injuries, and again, they've never made excuses because of their injuries, but they just don't have enough difference makers on the field. I mean, you look at Miami, they've got Andre Johnson, they've got Kellen Winslow, they've got Willis McGahee. Tennessee's got Jason Witten, who is a big play guy who's been very quiet in this game, but they don't have any other difference makers outside. Cedric Houston's given them a little bit. They just don't have guys that can make big plays in the ball game right now.
Here's Houston for a 1st down. It's Troy Fleming, beg your pardon, number 27. And kind of hollow applause reverberating throughout this stadium as Tennessee gets the 1st down. Well, they have been wounded. Not to belabor the issue, but one of those playmakers for Casey Carson is Kelly Washington. He's only had him 3 times this year.
Well, he was their best playmaker. I mean, he was the one guy that could step on the field in a game like this and hold his own and make big plays against anybody that Miami put on him.
Time has been called by Tennessee. They used their 2nd, stopped the clock with 15 seconds to go, 3rd quarter. Watched network. Kelly Washington showed you video of the concussion he suffered in the Georgia game, has not been able to play since then, and does not practice with the team. They're searching for second and third medical opinions to see just how serious that lingering concussion is, but he's not going to be available, it appears, for a while.
And the guy who has dubbed himself the future has a very cloudy future as far as the NFL right now because of his injury.
Here's Banks, gets a good block from Sean Young, and then the catch is made up at the 43-yard line.
Out of bounds.
Out of bounds. Not good. And Jason Witten is hurt.
Well, he really extended himself to make this catch, and he got hit right in the midsection. It looked like Banks was going to run until the last minute. He decided to make the throw because of the converging hurricanes. And watch Witten. He stretches out, and then a helmet right in the midsection. Now, again, in the NFL, that's a catch, because if the referees determine that he would have come in bounds without the contact, they would call that a catch. I think he probably just got the wind knocked out of him. That would be my hunch. We showed you Kelly Washington. Really, the two guys on this team are Kelly Washington and Jason Witten that can play anywhere and can make big plays. And you saw Witten only one catch today. And without those guys being a factor, I mean, Tennessee they just don't have the ability to make big plays. And you've got to be able to make some big plays against a defense like Miami. You can't just line up and run the ball right down their throats without making big plays.
Well, you see Witten down, Washington not in uniform.
Yeah, it's been
all you need is a fife and a drum and a banner.
Crazy year. You take the hit by Sean Taylor, who is a big physical safety, 6'3", 220 pounds, and Jason Witten up, and that's a good sign for Volunteer fans. He is really a good football player who has been limited and negated in this football game so far. 6'5", 265 pounds with excellent speed for a guy that size.
Gerald Riggs is on now, the true freshman, son of Gerald Riggs. Longtime great running back in the National Football League, and Riggs gets the handoff and doesn't get much more. Jason Witten getting medical attention on the Tennessee bench. We have reached the end of the third quarter with our score 26-3 Miami. We'll return to Neyland Stadium right after this message and this word from your local station. Neyland Stadium, Knoxville, where Miami is rolling 26-3. Tennessee has the ball now. Casey Clausen on the bench with a foot injury. James Banks, the freshman from Indianapolis, is the quarterback. On third down, Banks wants a bunch, gets a block, and dances right. Now lets it go, and he's got a man open, but the ball is just overthrown. It will be incomplete, and the Volunteers of Tennessee will be giving it up now again to this very strong Miami Hurricane. We'll go back to the beginning of the day. We talked about an out-of-balance Miami car.
Yeah, focused. I mean, they came in angry. They came in with a chip on their shoulder. They wanted to make a statement, and I think they made a very strong statement. They have been focused, methodical. They've executed on offense. They've executed on defense, and now we'll see what happens with the BCS, because you know, Oklahoma's struggling right now. Ohio State just won 10-6 on the road against Purdue, and Miami has looked dominant this afternoon.
Here is the Colquitt punt, and Roscoe Parrish lets it go. It goes into the end zone. That is a career-long 68-yard punt for Dustin Colquitt. 68. It will come out to the 20. Jason Witten up. We'll see if he can get back on the field. .39 to go in this one. Tennessee, Mike Berry, the offensive line coach, chatting with his guys. First down and 10, Miami, with a 26-3 lead. Here's Dorsey pumping once, going left for Johnson. Man-for-man coverage down the near sideline. Jabari Greer. We check in with Jill Arrington.
Well, Verna, former Miami lineman Cortez Kennedy, he stays on top of these Miami players. He often calls Jerome McDougal and says, you've got to keep this tradition going because that's what Miami is based on. We built this program on success because of leaders. So you've got to tell those young guys, match my intensity. I think that's what they've done today.
I think he's still got a meal ticket.
Yeah. Well, you know, that's one of the things about this Miami program. The ex-players stay very close to what's happening. Ed Reed, the great strong safety, calls Maurice Sykes, this year's starting strong safety, every Thursday and talks about the game plan, talks about how they've played. Willis McGahee, you know, the players that played at Miami in the last 15 to 20 years have great pride in what they've done, and they stick together. There's Maurice Sykes, kind of one of the leaders on this year's defense, a junior out of Miami.
There is another gaudy number. We talked to Maurice Sykes earlier this week. He was not aware of Miami's record when they have a lead going into the third quarter. It is incredible. The fourth quarter, rather, a lead after 3. Here's Dorsey deep, incomplete. Now, what has Miami done when they've had a lead after 3? 157-2 in the last 17 years. The losses came to East Carolina in '99, West Virginia in '97. Based on what we've seen here, it's going to be 158-2.
Yeah. The only good news for the Vols, they should get decent field position after this exchange.
Ready, Capshaw. They're going to let this one bounce, and it takes a Tennessee hop back toward the 50-yard line. It will be down at the 49. 28-yard punt for Freddie Capshaw, the senior from Rock Springs, Wyoming, who is having something less than a stellar year, but they haven't had to call on him today. Time call. Miami on the defensive side of the ball now with a 23-point lead. 386 yards for Miami to 193 for Tennessee at this point. First down and 10. Here's Banks. He'll run, and he does this very well. Down at the 41. Oklahoma playing Texas A&M. Here's an update. Once again, Tim Brendo.
Turn, how about this? 4th and 5, Oklahoma on their own 27. Nate Hibble to Ronaldo works. The tackle by Ronald Jones, and A&M is poised to knock off the BCS's #1 team, Oklahoma. Virginia Tech has tied up the game with Syracuse. Ernest Wilford, a touchdown catch of 87 yards. We'll keep you posted.
All right, 2nd down and 1 here, Tennessee. And they've got the ball at the 41-yard line. Houston bangs over right tackle and has a first down, Tennessee.
You know, we were talking, we showed you the numbers of Tennessee's offense here in the first half. 139 yards now rushing, 74 of that on one play. But look at this number, 68 yards passing. Now, a lot of criticism has come on Miami's defense for not being able to stop the run, but they have really shut down people throwing. And I don't care how good you run the football on anybody. If you don't have balance in your offense, you're not going to beat a team like Miami. 68 yards passing against this defense, not nearly good enough.
Here's Banks trying to dance out of trouble. And he is caught at the 40-yard line. Well, we're not sure where we'll be next week. Could be Auburn. Could be Baton Rouge. Could be Gainesville. All depends on what happens tonight. But Tim and Spencer will be back in the New York studio.
Our travel people love us, don't they?
Yes, that's right. Well, Smokey trying to get something going here for Tennessee. 2nd down and 10. There's the reverse to Jonathan Wade. He gets a block, turns the corner, and is out of bounds inside the 30 at the 28.5-yard line. Jonathan Vilma, number 51, pushed him out. Jonathan Wade played his high school ball at Evangel in Shreveport. When he was a freshman, the senior quarterback was Brock Berlin, who started his collegiate career at Florida, transferred, and is sitting out a redshirt season at Miami.
Running the scout team right now for the Miami defense, and doing a nice job between him and Frank Gore. They've got a pretty good scout team.
No kidding. Here's Houston. If the play stands, it'll be a first down. There is a flag on the near side.
I want to get back to that passing stat. I mean, Miami coming into the game, the #1 team in the country against the pass, only 110 yards per game. Now, West Virginia, they ran the ball for 363 yards against Miami, but only threw it for 60 and lost the game. Florida State ran it for close to 300 yards, but only threw it for 83 and lost the game. I mean, they've given up some yards rushing, although they've done a much better job today, but they've taken the balance away from everybody that they've played, and that's why they're undefeated.
5-yard penalty marked off against Miami, and that gives Tennessee a 1st and 10 at the 23. Here's James Banks on for the injured Casey Clausen. Pulls up. Flag. This one will come back.
Indecisiveness by the young quarterback that time. I mean, again, this defense is too fast to hesitate. The old adage, he who hesitates is lost, really rings true against a team like this. Make up your mind. Either throw that football or take off and run with it.
Well, today's Home Depot Scholar Athlete is Jason Witten of Tennessee. Jason has a 3-point grade point average in sports management. Home Depot's commitment to the investment of our future shown today by donating $1,000 to the University of Tennessee's scholarship fund. 10-yard penalty, Tennessee. Ball back at the 33-yard line, 1st and 20. 26-3. As the Volunteers on the verge of losing at home for the 3rd time this year. Screen pass. Fleming has it. Pretty good pursuit, and he's down at the 30-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 17. Tackle made by Cornelius Green.
I don't think you understand how good a play that was by Cornelius Green. He just kind of felt that screen. I mean, he was being blocked and felt the screen and just kind of turned around and made the play. And watch Cornelius Green right here. Watch how he plays this screen. He comes on the rush. He's going to kind of follow it out and then just turns and makes a play. I mean, it was really a heck of a play by Cornelius Green. Jamal Green has had a huge game, and now Cornelius made the play that time.
2nd down and 17. 3 men down for Miami. Here's Banks. Again, good downfield coverage, forcing him to improvise. Runs into his own man. Fumble. Picked up. And they will now say that it was a forward pass.
See, we saw James Banks run around and do this kind of stuff against Georgia. Georgia's a good defense, but they're not as fast and aggressive as this Miami defense. And you just cannot take that long to do something with the football against these guys, especially when they have you in a situation at 26-3 where they're just going to really come after the quarterback.
Now that's intentional grounding is the call. There's the right foot of Casey Clausen. Intentional grounding, loss of down for the Volunteers. 26-3. 10:29 to go. It's 3rd. I beg your pardon. 3rd and a ton. 29 if you want to be precise. And again, Banks will run, and again there's a flag thrown. So this fine effort as he hurdles looked like Richmond Flowers 30 years ago.
It's another holding.
Yeah, it's going to come back.
Yeah, William Joseph got held by the center, Scott Wells. And again, right now what Miami knows is they don't have to pay much attention to the run. And they're going to rush the passer, and they're going to go get the football. You take a look at James Banks. He is a very elusive guy. Nice little move there. Jumped right over Maurice Sykes. You know, it's been a long time. I've seen a lot of Tennessee football games under Philip Fulmer, and it's been a long time since I've seen a team kind of manhandle them the way that Miami has manhandled them today. I've seen them lose football games. They've lost 3 this year, but not this way. They haven't lost games very often under Philip Fulmer getting manhandled physically like Miami has handled them today.
3rd and 39. Here's Banks. Again improvising, and he overthrows his intended receiver, Derek Tinsley, and we go back to New York once again and get an update from Tim Brando.
The Pac-10 race beginning to take shape for Washington State, and DeVar Darling's had a wonderful day. 4 catches, 94 yards, 2 touchdowns. This one off the tip drill from Jason Gesser. They blocked the extra point. It's 32-21, Washington State, and they hold the tiebreaker against SC, Vern.
All right, thank you, Tim. 26-3 here, 4th down. Dustin Colquitt, who's been the busiest member of this volunteer football team, is on to punt. The 9th punt for Colquitt today. And this one end over end will bounce at the 17, taken by Roscoe Parrish. And he's hauled down at the 27-yard line. 9 minutes and 37 seconds remaining. Only twice before have Tennessee teams lost 4 times in the season under Philip Fulmer. All right, 26-3 here. We'll chat about that, I think.
Yeah. I don't think Miami cares that much right now whether Ohio State's won or they're won. I mean, the fact that Oklahoma lost, that bodes very well for Miami and the way their schedule sets up from here.
The announcement was just made here, and here is McGahee. Look at him battle. There's a flag down, so this one in all likelihood will come back. And thorough domination now, 26-3. Miami in control, and they're going to win their 31st in a row. Interesting now at the end of the year for these guys.
It really is. I mean, I like the way their schedule sets up. They came in here focused. They're getting the job done today. Looks like a good, solid victory. They'll go home. They have a week off. Okay, then they play Pittsburgh on a Thursday night in Miami, and they'll have 9 days before they play Virginia Tech on the following Saturday. So a nice setup for Miami. They responded to the challenge today. People doubted whether they were deserving, whether they were going backwards or forwards, and I think they answered a lot of questions today about the quality of their football team. There's their schedule. Pittsburgh on November 21st, Syracuse and Virginia Tech.
There's McGahee on the handoff from Dorsey, right side. Well, they're going to make it 32 in a row when this one is over.
Isn't it crazy? A couple weeks ago, everybody was saying the BCS is going to be all screwed up because there were 8 undefeated teams. Now we've got 2.
I see no fly in the ointment.
Well, not yet.
Huh? And what happens?
A lot of teams with 1 loss, though, are kind of staying in their position. Texas, Washington State. Of course, Notre Dame came back and won their game today. Still has 1 loss. Georgia, big game tonight against Ole Miss.
Iowa with a huge win again today.
You know, one of the tragic things in the scheduling in the Big Ten, Iowa does not play Ohio State, the 2 best teams in the conference, and you could make an argument for both of them, but they will not play each other.
There's the Ohio State schedule.
Iowa, on the other hand, only has 1 game left at Minnesota.
If you look at November 9th, you can give that a W. They won that game 10-6 over Purdue. 3rd and 12.
Didn't get the play off.
And so 5-yard penalty. I just want to mention something, Todd. 140 miles due north of here right now. Eastern Kentucky is playing Southeast Missouri State, and this is going to be the final home game for one of the grand men in this game. Roy Kidd, the coach, is ending 39 years as the head coach, all of them at Eastern Kentucky. They're playing in Richmond tonight. If they win, and they're 7-3 for the year, it will be his 315th victory, which would tie him with Amos Alonzo Stagg. We just want to wish him well. He's just a terrific man and has made wonderful contributions to this great sport. Here's Dorsey heading to his right, looking for the receiver. Out of bounds with a catch at the 36-yard line. Kellen Winslow again.
Well, again, he's a wide receiver. He's getting bigger and stronger. He'll fill out more as his career develops at Miami, but he's a real competitive kid. I mean, he doesn't carry himself like a sophomore. He carries himself more like a junior and senior. He's a very emotional guy, an energetic guy, and has really become a big play guy for Miami.
There was a flag on the last play. And Ken Dorsey was beyond the line of scrimmage.
That'll probably be the last series that we'll see the starters from Miami. We'll probably get to see Derek Crudup, the backup quarterback, and a bunch of other backups in there to finish this one out here in Knoxville.
Well, this is a typically efficient game for Dorsey, isn't it?
Yeah, no interceptions. Didn't force the ball. I've noticed this year on film that he has had a tendency to force the ball. Didn't do that today.
Here's Capshaw. Bangs it deep. Taken by Mark Jones. And Jones out of bounds as he crosses the 50 at the Tennessee bench. Well, Ken Dorsey, many think he is the favorite in the Heisman Trophy race, but it is a wide open scramble. 7:33 to go in this one. Before it's all over, we will be naming our Army player of the game. Miami leading 26-3. First down and 10, and James Banks. That's C.J. Leak, who has come on for Banks. C.J. Leak, who had the start in Georgia. He's a transfer from Wake Forest. Had the starter there as a sophomore and then sat out. We go down to Jill Arrington.
Well, Vern, no one likes to lose on homecoming, and the last homecoming loss for Tennessee, well, it was back in 1983. Ole Miss Rebels scored all of their 13 points in the first half. But then in the second half, the Vols had their opportunities, but Randall Morris's fumble at the 1-yard line allowed the Rebels to hold on for a 13-10 win. But Vern, picking those defending champions was an interesting choice this year for a homecoming game, don't you think?
I think it was, Jill. Of course, the choice was made 12 years ago. Here's the C.J. Leak letting it go, and they are going to say he was down back at the 49-yard line. That gives us a moment to check in with Tim Brando.
Vern, here's the player that Tennessee would love to have, I would imagine, A.J. Suggs, but he's picked off here by Stanford Samuels. He transferred from Tennessee. That preserves the win for Florida State, and Syracuse has gone in to tie it. It's 35 all. Damian Rhodes taking it in from 3 yards out.
All right, Tim, you're keeping busy today. Quite a day. A.J. Suggs was a starting quarterback here 2 years ago, then transferred when Casey Clausen got the job, sat out, and is now the starter at Tech.
Good to see that Syracuse playing Virginia Tech so well at home. Paul Pasqualoni struggling this year. Got a big vote of confidence from his athletic director this week.
There is Leak at the 45. And it'll be down at the 43-yard line. One of the tri-captains of this team is Will Offenhuzel. I've gotten to know him over the last couple of years, and he has become one of my favorite young men in college football, playing his second to last home game here. Tri-captain. He's got his degree in logistics and management. It's fourth down, and they will go for it. Flags are down, and they might have drawn Miami offside. If so, this is going to be a first down. Well, Will introduced us yesterday to his mom, Janet, who is here with his stepdad and his granddad. That's his granddad, Lewis Thornton, and his mom just to the left, Janice. They came over from Western Tennessee. There's his mom kind of sighing and looking into the camera. She was telling us about the last time she spanked her son. He was 15. And he said, "Oh, Mom, don't tell that story." And Janet said, "I'm going to." She got out the fly swatter and said, "Okay, here it comes." And in trying to make contact, the fly swatter bent in two. She said, "I guess that's the end of that."
Have to go to an alternative form of discipline.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. On fourth down, that last penalty was against Tennessee, so they have opted to punt. 10th punt for Dustin Colquitt. Out of bounds. Will Offenhuzel, his Home is in Martin, Tennessee. He grew up on a hog farm. At one point, he said his dad raised 30,000 pigs. They had 100 cows and 500 horses. And I said, well, I don't mean to be indiscreet, but the odor. He said, my dad told me that's the smell of money.
You've been holding on to that story all season.
I was bound and determined to empty the bucket to that degree. I have no shame. First down. McGahee still in there. And let's check the stat of the game, brought to you by Home Depot. 390 yards for Miami, 161 and 229. And Tennessee with 214, only 77 in the air. For complete game stats, go to CBSSportsline.com or on America Online, enter keyword CBS Sportsline.
I'm a little surprised to see Ken Dorsey, Willis McGahee, those guys in the game right now. The only thing I could think of is the fact that they do have an open week next week, and maybe Larry Coker wants to get him a little more game action. But again, you run the risk of injury at this point, keeping him in the football game. Andre Johnson still in the game. Take a look at Ken Dorsey's numbers. Other than the West Virginia game, the Florida State game, you know, some average type numbers. 192 yards last week in the Rutgers game, and had to play all 4 quarters of that one.
And here's Dorsey coming left. That one knocked away at the 34-yard line. Well, Ken Dorsey is going to go 35-1 as a starter for this football team. He came on the last 3 games as a true freshman at the end of '99. They won 2 of those 3 games by scores of 55-0. And then he has been a starter ever since. The one loss at Washington, 34-29, September 9th, 2000.
Yeah. That's amazing. I mean, it's a great streak. His teammates have great confidence in him as a leader, and he has played so well in 4th quarters of games when his team has needed him.
Here's Jason Gathers, number 3.
You know, we should really say and make the point also, I mean, even though Miami has dominated this game, I think John Chavis and his defense really deserve to be commended, because you look at Miami has 26 points. They come in averaging 43. They have 390 some yards. They came in averaging 480. So even though they have gotten dominated in the game on the scoreboard in the yardage department, his defense has held in there and at least kept it respectable here at home.
3rd down and 7. Dorsey back, blitz coming. He fires it left, and it's caught out of the backfield by Kyle Kobe, the fullback. And he's knocked out of bounds at the 46. Time now for our 5-star play of the game, presented by Wrangler. And for the call, here's Miami play-by-play man Joe Zagacki.
Double tight end. McGahee the deep back. Dorsey toss. McGahee right side. Hits the ball. Cuts inside. McGahee end zone. Touchdown Hurricanes. Willis McGahee.
Joe Zagacki, the play-by-play man of Miami. Been a friend for a while, and had a near personal tragedy 10 years ago. Joe and his wife will continue after this play. Here's the handoff to Gathers, and he's going to be caught for a loss. In the aftermath of Hurricane Andrew, Joe and his wife Cheryl organized an airlift with food supplies for some of the victims of that event. And he was a passenger, having organized the flight on a Cessna 402 that crashed. It killed 2 men. But Joe, noticing that he's, now we got to get some airtime.
Joe better get out of school.
Hey, might as well act like we're going to stage you, get a little free advertising out of this deal, Joe.
Just trying to support our case for Miami. They're going to win their 31st game in a row.
Get the idea, Joe's not the tallest guy in the team.
Right, you just keep on.
He's a good guy, and he did survive that plane crash, and now is the very capable play-by-play man for Miami University. I've never seen anybody stand up quite that quickly. A flag is down.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense, 5 yards, Still second down.
So this one's winding down. Sunday on CBS, Oscar winner William Hurt stars as FBI agent Robert Hansen in a true story. The worst traitor in American history found out why he did it and the evidence that gave him away. A CBS television event, Master Spy. The Robert Hansen story, Sunday on CBS, America's most watched network. Getters. Third down. And once again, let's go back to New York. Check in with a very busy Tim Brando.
All right, Vern, a very important play here for Virginia Tech. Troy Nunes is picked off by Garnell Wiles, his second interception of the day. Virginia Tech now has the ball inside the 30-yard line with time winding down in regulation. They could be headed for overtime. Vern?
3rd and 12 here, Tim. 26-3. And a third down as Dorsey continues in at quarterback for Miami. Deep left side. Incomplete. It will be 4th down. Well, Todd, let's readdress the keys that you picked out for a Miami victory today.
Well, I think first of all, early execution. They came out and were sharp early in the football game. Played well in the first quarter. Kellen Winslow, again, a big target for them offensively. Number 2, they had to defend the run on defense. Other than that long 74-yard run, I think they did a great job. Tennessee, 137 yards rushing. They've defended Witten. He's not been a factor, and they've been sound on their kicking game. They've done everything they needed to do today.
Huddle, in formation, with 12 men, kicking team, 5 yards, remains 4th down.
They'll walk 5 off to the Miami end of the field, and Freddie Capshaw will punt this one away.
Kind of an unusual number for Tennessee when you think about it. After that big win that we were at last year over Florida and Gainesville at the end of the year, Tennessee 6-5 since that win. Obviously teams change, personnel change, but 3 home losses this year here at Neyland Stadium. Very unusual.
Well, that one goes off the side of the foot, and Tennessee will take it. Well, we want to pass on our best wishes to a Tennessee State trooper. Had one of their members come by the booth before the game and ask us to pass on best wishes to Highway Trooper Greg Gibson. He was escorting Vice President Cheney in a visit to this state just a week ago when he was hit by a vehicle in the middle of the escort and suffered a broken leg, and is watching this game on television. And we were asked to let him know that all of his colleagues here are thinking of him, wishing him a speedy recovery. 1st down and 10. Blitz got him. Oh, did they? Thomas Carroll with the sack. Well, the coaches poll top 10. Miami is going to win this one. Oklahoma losing to Texas A&M. Ohio State comes from behind and defeats Purdue. Texas wins big. Washington State leading at the moment. Iowa wallops Northwestern. Virginia Tech tied in the 4th. Georgia plays tonight. Only 10 seconds left in that Va Tech game. USC plays Stanford tonight, and Notre Dame had to come from behind to edge Navy. Draw play. Derek Tinsley. Left side. Greg Threet, number 28, makes the tackle. And let's get another update. Once again, here's Tim.
All right, Vern, Virginia Tech did get that opportunity. A 46-yard field goal try by Carter Warley. Appears as though it's going to make it. It does not. They're headed to overtime. This is very significant because Virginia Tech needs to win to bolster Miami's situation.
3rd down. Of course, with only 2 undefeated teams remaining, if Virginia Tech runs the table and they defeat Pittsburgh and they defeat Syracuse and they defeat Virginia Tech, they will be in the national championship game.
It doesn't matter if they're 1 or 2. As long as they're one of those 2, they'll be playing in the Fiesta Bowl.
Well, these two men met first in 1979. Casey Clausen tried to give it a go, made it to halftime. But the foot, a problem. Ken Dorsey goes to 35-1 as a starting quarterback. As we said, there is no official NCAA record on starting quarterback records, but Steve Davis was 34-1-1 at Oklahoma a few years back in the mid-70s. Our player of the game for the U.S. Army, Willis McGahee. 30 rushes, 154 yards, got 1 touchdown. It is his 7th 100-yard game of the year. We go down to Jill Arrington, who's with Larry Coker.